Yeah, welcome. This is Alan Gubanich. Years ago, I used to do what we called either a learn a bird or a bit of bird biology program for 10 or 15 minutes before each Audubon general meeting. And people have recently asked me if I would do those again. So here we are. We'll do a learn a bird tonight. Our imperial leader, Dave Jickling, said I have to talk about house finches, cassin finches, and purple finches. So following his orders, here they are. I've also been told I'm supposed to limit this to 10 minutes. Now, most of you who know me know that that's almost an impossible task. I mean, I only have 125 slides, so how I'm going to get through those in 10 minutes, I don't know. But at any rate, I'm kidding. Okay. All right. House finch, probably something you're all familiar with in your yards if you have feeders out. Cassin's finch, purple finch, you may not be too familiar with them, but let's start with the house finch first. All three birds are strongly dimorphic, and if you're not familiar with that word, di means two, morphic refers basically to the appearance of the birds. It means two morphs or two appearances. Specifically, it means male and female look different from each other, and we'll see that in a minute. So here's a male house finch. You might notice that it's streaky underneath, a streak starting on the breast, going down the belly and on the sides. There's also streaks on the undertail coverts, which are collectively called the chrism. So if you want to impress your friends, say, did you see those streaks on that chrism? Oh man, he really knows what he's talking about. Also notice this curve to the upper mandible, and we'll get back to that in a minute. That's going to be important. Let's look at the female. Said they were strongly dimorphic. You can see that the female looks much different than the male. She's one of those, what we might call one of those LBJs, little brown jobs. You can see the curve to the upper mandible again, but notice a lot of streaking on the underside, sort of a plain face, just kind of almost nondescript. Both male and female are only 6 inches long, which is typical of sparrows and finches in general. So no eyebrow or supercilium, just really kind of like a sort of a plain looking bird. So there's a male on the right and a female on the left on my hopper feeder one day. So dimorphic, male and female look different. Now the males, here's several different views of males. Just want to point out that people say, house finch male, it's got red on the head. Well, take a close look. It's really on the forehead and not on the crown, although on this guy, you may say, it looks like a red crown. The top of the head is called the crown, but it's more sort of a mix of red and brown. So it's really mostly on most of the birds, it's forehead, and it comes back, sweeps back kind of like an eyebrow. But here you can see several different views of different individual birds, different males. Be advised that within the house finch population, there are color variations in the males. Not all of them are deep red like you saw. See how these guys are looking orangish here? This guy's even tending toward yellowish. Whoops, my computer isn't behaving itself. Now here's a house finch in my front yard that's really yellowish. I've had people call me up and ask me about what is this bird, and they're nothing more than just different color morphs, as we would say, of male house finches. All right, cassin's finch. Well, we said house finch occurs all over North America. Cassin's finch is a western bird. Purple means where they occur permanently all year round. Blue is winter range, and this kind of orangish, brownish orange is where they extend into a breeding range. So notice here in Nevada, they indicate that we do have a permanent population here. The rest of them seem to come down here in the wintertime. Some of these guys that are breeding up here will move down into these areas in the wintertime. Some of these will move down here in the wintertime. As far as we're concerned here in the Reno area, these guys in the summertime, they're up in the mountains. They breed in the mountains in the spring and summer, and then they may come down into the valleys in the wintertime. So if you're looking for cassin's finches, be aware that you're probably going to see them only in the wintertime, unless they're migrating through your yard in the spring or fall. Now, here's a male that showed up in my yard one winter. They'll come onto these finch feeders just like the house finches do, Again, see, red forehead and then an eyebrow. Red rump, the posterior third of the back is called the rump. So both male and female Cassin's finches have it. But on the Cassin's finch, the entire crown is red, not just the forehead, but the entire crown, okay? Notice also clear on the undersides, except for maybe some streaks on the flanks. Whereas remember, the house finch is streaked on the undersides. The Cassin's finch can also raise its head feathers up in a crest like this, okay? So here you can see a crest on this entire red crown. Now they drop it, so you can see a crest or you can't. Notice again the streaks on the undertail coverts or the chrism. Come on, computer. Now, if you're not too sure about those characteristics, take a look at the beak. This is a definite distinguishing characteristic. In the Cassin's finch, that main ridge that's on the top of the mandible is called the culmen. You've got a straight culmen or a straight bridge on the male Cassin's finch, curved, as I mentioned before, on the house finch, both male and female. So if you can't see anything else, if you can at least take a look at the beak, that will distinguish Cassin's finch from house finch. Here's another look at a Cassin's finch male. Look at the crest. See that straight culmen? There's some more streaks on the undertail coverts. Here's a male house finch in the back with a curved culmen. Here's a female Cassin's finch. Looks a lot like a female house finch, but again, she can have her feathers raised up in a crest or she can drop them. The main difference between, I think, the Cassin's finch female and the house finch female is probably what we call heavier streakings, denser streaks on the female Cassin's finch versus that light streaking, lighter, fainter, maybe diffuse. Some people call it diffuse streaking, finer streaking. But again, if you're not sure, check the culmen, the upper mandible, curved in the house finch, straight in the Cassin's finch, both male and female. Now, purple finch. I don't have any pictures of my own of purple finches, so I had to go to the web to get some. And note, they're not purple. The name is a misnomer. They're kind of like the color of red wine or red roses and so on. In fact, Roger Torrey Peterson once described purple finches as a sparrow dipped in raspberry juice. So think about raspberry color. And notice how it's over so much more of the body than it is even in the Cassin's finch. Now, purple finches occur mostly, they breed all the way up here in Canada, in the forest. They come down here, some of them are in this permanent area in northeastern United States, and then a lot of them come down here into the winter, and that's when people in these states that start looking for them in the wintertime at their feeders. But notice there's a permanent population along the Pacific coast, which just kind of barely gets into Nevada, sometimes slops over here. And as I said, I think before, there have been reports of purple finches showing up in Nevada. And let me shut off my phone here. Sorry about that. Should have done it before. There have been reports of purple finches showing up in Nevada. I think Verdi is in California, but out at Rancho San Rafael, but most of those have been females, although a few males have been reported. So be on the lookout for them. You're more liable to see Cassin's finches than purple finches. But here's that purple finch again. Look at how much purple is on it compared to the purple on a Cassin's finch male, and certainly a lot more than on a house finch male, which has no purple on the back. Here's a purple finch on the left, a Cassin's finch on the right. Cassin's finch maybe a little bit bigger by about 1/4 of an inch. And man, if you can tell that at a distance, you're far better than I am, which probably isn't saying much anyway. But notice unstreaked chrism on the purple finch, okay? Compared to a streaked chrism, which we can't see on this bird. But remember, I mentioned that undertail coverts are streaks on the Cassins. They are usually unstreaked in the purple finch. One way to tell them apart. Here's a male house purple finch compared to a house finch. Curved culmen, straight, clear undersides. Look at all the streaking on the house finch. Should be easy to tell them apart. Every time I look at this one, I swear I think I'm looking at a northern cardinal because of the pose of the bird. Now, here we get to the trouble spot. Female purple finch. Now, in the late summer and fall, when the immatures are hatched, immatures look like females. So at that time of the year and throughout the winter, you look at a bird like this, it could be a female, it could be an immature. It hasn't gotten into its adult plumage yet. But at any rate, look at all the strong markings on the face here. White eyebrow, dark ear patch, and some white here under the ear patch. This is a female purple finch. Here's a male and female purple finches at a feeder. Now these birds look kind of washed out to me. I don't know if the photo was overexposed or the light was bad or what, but again, look at the female. Prominent white eyebrow, nice brown ear patch, and this white slash underneath that ear patch. And look again, unstreaked chrism, okay? Let's compare the three females again. Notice how sort of plain the female house finch look. Plain face versus a very strongly patterned face on the purple finch. There's that white eyebrow, the ear patch, and this white underneath the ear patch. Cassin's finch, females can sometimes show that white eyebrow. Sometimes they don't. They vary. Remember, there's always variation in any population. They may have a dark ear patch too, but in my experience, I don't see any of them having that little white streak that's underneath the ear patch. And then soft, diffuse streaks on the house finch, much stronger, denser streaks, darker streaks on the cassin's finch and purple finch females. Okay, notice these two usually have streaks on the chrism, again, unstreaked chrism on the purple finch female. Another way to tell them apart. Okay, so female cassin's finch here, female house finch there, female purple finch there. Notice the white eyebrow again and this white slash there, okay? Unstreaked chrism, streaked chrisms on these two, okay? So there they are. House finch on the left, cassin's finch in the middle, purple finch on the right. All I can say is good luck, okay? And the best way to learn them, practice is the best teacher. Get out there and look at the birds, observe them. Don't try to learn just from illustrations. You got to get out and watch the birds with your binoculars. So, okay.